Well, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Todd Rains here from Woodturning Tool Store, back with you from my shop in here in Allen, Texas. It's good to be back live again and in front of the front of the camera in the studio. It's been a little while, so I want to thank everybody for being here. I got a couple my Texas friends joining, so let's say hi to Lowell. Lowell, thanks for joining. Yeah, definitely had a fun time. First part of that, not quite so sure. So, but it is what it is. And then my friend Tony, and got to meet his wife Nikki finally. So it was good to meet you guys and have dinner with you and stuff. So, Tony, thanks for joining. And Larry, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. So, as you know, or maybe not all of you know, but I do live stream to Facebook and YouTube. This time on Fridays, 2:30. And excuse my voice; it's a little hoarse, a little congested. But 2:30s is kind of my time on Fridays. I don't do it every Friday. I'm probably going to stick to an every other Friday schedule, maybe going through the summer. I do have the fan on in here, so if there's any noise from that, let me know. But otherwise, it gets a little warm out here at 2:30. So hopefully everybody's had a good week and looking forward to the weekend. Hopefully everybody had a good, I guess, long weekend last weekend, 4th of July, Independence Day. So that's very nice. It was a lot of fun. It was pretty low key here at the house. Just kind of passed by as we were doing, actually grilling on Monday night. So I kind of worked out. So. Yeah, so everybody's had a good weekend and stuff. James, good to have you here. I think it might be the first time I've seen you here, but at least your name pop up, so I appreciate it. Well, no, I think you've been on before, so good. And Glenn, good to have you here. Hell, my friend Philip from across the pond. I hope it was a good show for you. It was fun. It was good to meet everybody. I met a lot of people I hadn't seen in years. Met a lot of people who I've met virtually, and good to meet in person again. So yeah, it was fun in that regard. A lot of work, man. So we drove out there from here to Chattanooga. It's 11 and a half hour drive. So a long day of driving and a long day setting up Thursday. But so fun to meet everybody and stuff. The facility was nice. It was nice and cool in the trade show room, which was nice. Previous ones have been warm. But we're looking forward to SWAT coming up. So I'll mention that. SWAT is Southwest Association of Turners. I do have a banner. Let me show. Let's see. There it is. Yes, August 26th to the 28th in Waco. Welcome to the heat. So August in middle of Texas. it should be nice and warm. But it's a great show. I'm hoping it's going to be a good one this year. We haven't been in a couple of years because of COVID. So, it's in our backyard, so it's a lot easier to get to. Texas, just a lot of friendly people. So we're looking forward to that one. Come down to that one. We'll be there. We'll have all our stuff out there. So looking forward to that. So we'll talk about that more in a minute. I've got a few more people to say hi. Cindy, thanks for dropping in. Cindy Drozda, a good friend of mine. So thanks for being here. We'll talk about her in just a second. David, thank you for joining. And nice oval boxes. If you caught that in the newsletter I sent out, those were David's boxes. Well done, David. James, it's been a while trying to get my shop finished. Oh, yeah, you got that nice new shop down there. Keep sending pictures on Facebook. Last I saw, you just had sort of a blank slate on the inside, I think. Just got the walls up inside. So, good stuff. I'm not getting you on Facebook. Oh, well, it says I'm on Facebook. Here we go. Somebody's watching on Facebook. Don Ward. See, it's what? Thank you for joining, Don. So, check it out, Cindy. It should be on my Todd Rains page as well as Woodturning Tool Store page. So just checking you're live and a view on Facebook just to double check. You're about to, yeah, okay, continue to Facebook. Yeah, looks like I'm there, just from what I can see. Let's see if I, delay is, yeah, it's about 15, 20 seconds, so. There we go, so should be good. Let's see, my wife is responding. Let's see, sorry. Woodshop 42. Hi, from Ron. Daniel, it's from New Jersey. Good to have you here, Ron. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, Philip says live on Facebook. Excellent. Yeah. And Roger, watching on Facebook also. Excellent. So got you, Todd Rains, but not Woodturning Tool Store. Oh, let me check that one. Sorry. Check the other one. So view on Facebook. Go over. Yes. Yeah. Looks like I'm there. Yep. Not sure, Cindy. Just double check everything. But thanks for checking. Appreciate it. Looks from my end everything's working. But let's see. Michael McEwen, a friend from Canada, so he's out in Victoria, BC. Michael, go ahead and Michael is a new distributor for Easy Inlay stuff. So Michael, go ahead and drop that in if you want. Let people know who you are. He's distributing in Canada. So Scott Grove is taking him on as a international dealer. Ooh, sounds like a man of mystery. Yes. Okay, I got Cindy's thing on there still. Sorry about that. Wow, we got a lot of people on here today, so great. Yeah, it was really good to see you, Michael. We'll see you in Waco in a few weeks, so good. And Terry, oh, good, you got my email, so good to have you here, Terry. Glad you found your way to the live streams. Thank you for joining, and so like that. So, okay, it's okay, Cindy. You know, technology sometimes gets the better of all of us. So, not a worries. I don't know what happened either, but anyway, we're good to go. So, well, I've got through a blast of comments there. So, thanks everyone for joining. So, let's take a look at who I am. Who am I? So you can reach me at, and I still haven't done this, Cindy. I got to move this over. But you can reach me here, Woodturning Tool Store, phone number, email address. If you have any questions about what's going on today or any tools we have in the shop, drop me a line. I'd be happy to talk and chat and email and get you settled on what questions you might have answers for or need answers for. Get my words all screwed up. So. And next, this is what I want to talk about as well. My friend Cindy Drozda is having a demo tomorrow. Gosh, people, check it out. This is going to be the first of 4 in a series of lidded containers. This one, we're doing that beautiful blue one up there. So I'll be on tomorrow co-hosting as usual. And Cindy is going to be spinning her magic as usual. So let's see. Let me get, if you can't read that, so it's tomorrow, Saturday, July 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 1700 UTC. So we're getting all global with it. So there's a banner just to make it a little bit easier to read. The follow-up is the 23rd, I believe, and Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's right, and at 1 p.m. So the second one, I think, she said, is going to be on her finial and her pedestals. So, and then 3 and 4 will be on the other shapes and forms, inclusive of all that stuff. So, it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I always have fun co-hosting and meeting everybody there. And yeah, pick up your ticket now. Go to cindydrozda.com and sign up now. I said now, everybody, now. So that should be fun. So what else we got? What are we doing today? Max4. So this is the box. This was taken yesterday in my shop, this photo. And the Max4 is a brand new bowl coring system. And it it was just announced on the 23rd of June at AAW, that Thursday or Friday, I can't remember which. And it's the culmination of multiple years of of sort of design tweaking and engineering and testing from Woodcut Tools. They embarked on a journey with multiple turners from across the world, from their home country, New Zealand and Australia, some turners from the States, some turners from the UK and Europe, to get their feedback and design a tool that will, I guess, be I think cord's in the way here. Be one of the better coring systems out there. It's super simple and safe to operate, and I used it for the first time yesterday in practice for today, and I've never cored a bowl before. My 20 years of turning, it's just not something that. Oops, put it wrong one. There we go. It's just not something I had. Didn't have the tooling. Didn't have the tools, and I had thought about it for years. I just didn't get to it. I started turning smaller stuff, and hadn't really gotten a large supply or work with the large stuff. So, but I got this load of Bradford pear from a good friend of mine a few weeks ago, and we got some larger pieces. Nothing to use the large blade, but we can use the small and medium blade. And I tell you, yesterday I was going through, I set it up and used it and all that stuff. Super simple, easy to use, and great tool. So we're going to walk through that today, and we're going to core this blank here that I got on the lathe. So that's about all I can say until we get to it. But well, that's not all I can say. I can always talk more. But I will say for a coring system that is that easy to set up and stuff. Yeah, it's a winner, I think. Definitely a good addition to my tools at this point, because I'm kind of hooked now. It's kind of that much fun. So let me see. So there's the box. So what I did yesterday is I videoed the whole thing in my shop here. So I'm going to create, besides this live stream, I'm going to create a YouTube video, a post-production YouTube video of the whole process. About setting it up and taking it out of the box and that kind of stuff. I've already got a part assembled here today, so we'll miss some of that, but I'll let you all know when the YouTube video is ready with that part of it and stuff. We'll take a look, and that should be a lot of fun. So today we're going to run through the basic sort of a setup once you got it assembled and use. So what I would like to for you to do is. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit the like button or subscribe button and all that kind of stuff. Same thing on Facebook. It'll get this video out and shared a bit more, and hopefully people will get some information about this coring system. And whether you buy from me or somebody else, it's fine. I just want you to get the information. So we do sell them. They're not actually in stock here yet, but they're on their way. So that is a good thing too. So let me just let's see, check the comments here. All right, excellent. I think I'm caught up. So let's take a look at a live shot here. There we are. So what I've done is I've prepped this blank. This is Bradford pear. Let me see how big this guy is. I didn't really measure it. It is, and let's see, we can go wide shot. So we got about 8.5 in diameter and about 4.25 depth. So it's a good size blank that we can get some stuff out of. I'll show you the ones that I turned yesterday. They're down here in my bucket of shavings. Even shaping the blanks and stuff, still got a bucket of shavings. So let's take a look. We'll pull this thing out, the banjo. We'll plop it in here, and we'll talk about how we're going to set it up. So as it comes out of the box, you get a set of instructions. So these ones I had to print up. I lost the book at the symposium, but you'll get a little fan fold book. But I've got hard copy instructions. I'm going to post. I haven't posted these yet on the website, but I will. Assembly is really quite easy. There's a picture of the contents, and boom, that's it. Assemble this right there. So put that in there, screw that, put that in there, screw that, put that in there, screw that, pop it in your banjo. And as they say, Philip, Bob's your uncle, right? So there you go. So I've done that yesterday, or most of that anyway. And so I will bring the unit over, plop it in my banjo. And there's sort of the overview of the unit. We've got this thing on the end here. Oh, look, I didn't set that up. That's one thing I didn't do. Okay, bear with me as I do this again. Sorry, folks, I do this almost every time. I forget to set up the slider. But, there's more things to worry about in life than spending a few minutes together just watching me slide this camera. So there we go. Boom. And we'll get back and we'll take a look at this. Okay, so at this end, there's this little Morse taper adapter. It's on this little slide. It's got a little handle down here. That's going to fit into our tailstock. That's going to be a secondary point of support. So that's the great thing about this thing. We've got the big carriage, right? And these 3 bolts hold down this guy, which is the clamp for the blades that go in these slots. I wonder if I can can't really get, let's see if the wide shot will get that. So you can kind of see, let me get my head out of the way. There's little slots in here. It's hard to see with I do have a light here. So you see the slots there, and there that hold the blades. And so this clamp block clamps down on those blades. This little spigot is for a handle, and then it rotates on this center post. We've got a wear pad. This is where the blades will rest on as they go through and do their cutting. And then you got the tool post here. I'll pull it out. We'll show that at the bottom here. So I've got a collar on here that's resting on the top of my banjo. And so that we're gonna take a look at how that's set up right now, and we'll go from there. So the first thing I want to do when I get this part assembled, I get that assembled onto there, I get this assembled into this platform. By the way, while I have this upside down, let's just take a look at the robustness of that plate. So it's pretty heavy, well ribbed, well machined, and finished. So it's pretty robust and stuff. So that's something to be proud of, Woodcut, for sure. So let me. What I'm going to do is take this bowl off, and we will take a look at how to align this thing and set the collar height on your tool, on your blade. So let me do that now. I've got to pull this off. I'm just going to pull the whole turning off by the chuck. So this is kind of like setting up the center height of your hollowing system or whatever else. So we're going to grab a spur drive, stick that in there, and come back over there. So I've just got a spur drive in here, the point center, and that's running fairly true. That's nice. So let's bring up our thing. We'll get one of the blades. I'm just going to grab the small one because that's probably going to be the first one I'm going to use. I'm going to mount this in the carriage, and it's going to go in the first slot down here. And so it slides in. You can see it come out on the other side there. So we can kind of vary where it sits within the whole thing. If we do need to get a bit more exposure in the blade, we can bring it out. I'm just going to seat it about there. We'll get our set of Allen screws, or Allen wrenches, hex wrenches, as they might be called. Big 8mm one is for tightening these bolts. So we'll tighten that down. I want to have this resting on this wear pad when I tighten that down. That's apparently something I missed yesterday. So I'm going to tighten this kind of like a lugs on a car, on a tire in a car, and kind of tighten them down somewhat evenly so that snug that up a little bit. Get that one so it's snug. And then keep rotating around until we get snugness all the way around. And all I'm doing that for is to get an even seat. So I get this wearing evenly on the, or sitting evenly on the pad. It's really not that difficult to set up. But that's it, tightened up. We've got that blade in there. It's not going anywhere, it's clamped down. So now what we want to do is kind of bring that, oops, there goes my chuck and bowl over there. Let me swing my banjo out of the way. So let me go over here and tighten up a little bit. Yes, I do have that. Let's see if that helps. A little bit of light there. So what I've got here is the point center, and I would adjust the collar on the tool post up and down until I get set just right. Lock in the tool post, set that collar in place, and tighten up the set screw on the collar. So right now we are set where that, and I wonder if this, and let's see. Got that aim just a little bit wrong right there. There. So we've got this cutter lined up right at that center of the drive center. So if I turn this on just a little bit, you can see it, and I'm cutting that center point. So we've got our collar set up just at the right height. We tighten that down, and now whenever we put this platform back in, everything sits down, and we're always at the right height. So that's something that I did yesterday, and so now today it's all set for me. I don't have to do anything else in terms of adjusting that collar. So that's all we need at the drive center for, just to measure that. Let's get our bowl back on the lathe, and I'll take a breath and take a look at comments and questions. All right, so let's see. Michael says, I have the Max3, great system. Yeah, so the Max3 is the predecessor to this system. So there's three systems. The original Bowlsaver, which we have one or two of those in stock. It's a two-bladed system. Let me tighten this up a little bit and hop back on. So the original Bowlsaver is a two-bladed system. The Max3 is a three-bladed system. I think has a smaller capacity than this one. The Max4 is still a three-bladed system. It's kind of a misnomer in the name, but it's the fourth generation. And so they've taken some of the great feedback they got in the Max3 and incorporated it in Max4, and I think beefed things up a little bit. So, James, good question. Are you going to have them at SWAT? I'm hoping to have one or two available at SWAT. Let me know if you want one. Send me an email. I'll bring it to SWAT, and we'll do all that transaction, and you'll save on shipping. So they are on the website. Let me bring that up for a second. Let's see, PC. We go small. These cables are still in the way. I got to tie those up. So here's the website, and right on the front page, I've got this big banner for the Max4. So you can click on that and learn more about the Max4. If I did that click, there we go. So $8.99 is what these retail for. You have to choose your tool post option. We've got 1 inch, 25, and 30 millimeter. 1 inch typical for the US here, right? So, and then shipping, this guy to anywhere in the States is around $45, or 45 to 55, I think, somewhere in there. So it's costly to ship. So that'd be a good thing if you're going to SWAT and you want one. Let me know now. I need to order now to hopefully get them in time to have for SWAT. So let's go back there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is good. This is yeah, absolutely. So yes, thank you everyone for joining today. Shelly, my wife, is behind the scenes chatting with people. So appreciate that. Shelly, thank you. And that's go. Okay, good. So I think I'm caught up. So next step, let's set up the for the first core. So we're going to take a look at, and let me back this off a little bit. Oh, I didn't turn that one on. Back on. Sorry, I'm struggling with cameras again. And widen that one out. All right, we'll go to the wide shot. We'll take a look at kind of where we're set up. We've got bowl blank. What I've done is I've faced this off. I put a little tenon in here because when I core this little one, that way I'll have, now, like I said, yesterday was my first time coring. So whether you do the little one first or the big one first, I think you can do either way. I don't know the benefits yet of each one, but if I core this little one, the first little part, I'll mark it first here. So I think I'm going to core in about here. You can barely see that line. And then my other one will be cored about there. So this is maybe a little bit thinner than that. So probably about there. Let's just turn that on for a second. We'll fill that in. That's not filling in. Let me get I had a felt. There it is. So that'll be one blade's width, and then this will be probably another one. Somewhere in there. So I'll get 3 bowls out of this blank. That's what I'm hoping to do. So we'll core the little one. When I pull that one out, I'll have a place to chuck it up and turn a tenon on the backside. The middle one, this middle blank, it's going to be just a blank, and I'll have to jam chuck it and put a tenon on it. And of course, the big one I'll have still in the chuck, and we can finish the inside and finish the outside. So that's my plan. Your mileage may vary in terms of how you do it. So let's finish setting up the rest here. And we'll go back to overhead and I'll scoot down this way now. We'll take a look at all of this setup down here. So now we've got kind of where our blade on center. We kind of know where we're going to sort of cut. I'm going to loosen the banjo. We're going to cut probably close to there-ish. Let me bring that out about there, and we'll take a look whether that's set up correctly or not. We've got this tailstock piece. I'm going to slide that into the tailstock a little ways. The kit comes with this threaded rod. I put a nut on it. You'll get a nut or something, I think, with the kit, I believe. This 3/8 by 16. The end of this guy is threaded 3/8 by 16. So we've got a drawbar to hold the tailstock and this thing together. It's kind of handy because it gives me a way to kind of move everything out of the way. So I'm going to stick this through. Most tailstocks are hollow and larger lathes, and I'm going to thread that in to that guy. So now we've got the threaded rod threaded into this guy here. So that will kind of lock down for a second. I've got in fact, I didn't want to quite do that yet. I've got quite a bit of room. Can't really see it, I don't think this will go far enough. No, there's quite a bit of rod sticking out at the end of the tailstock, and I'll show you how much. I've got about this much rod sticking out of the tailstock. I don't want to wind that all the way in, so I'm cheating. I am using a fancy washer. So I got one my handle system. So I'm using that, just kind of fillet space. So that's going to go in there, thread into that rod, get my handle cranked up. I don't have to wind this thread up very far now. I can just tighten that by hand. And now, if I unlock the banjo, so let me widen out a little bit. So I got that banjo loose. I loosen the tailstock. I'll pull the whole thing as one assembly. So it'll all come with as one. So because it's attached here. So now I've got this thing, I can pull it out of the way and move it into place. So I typically don't want to do that while I'm setting it up, but we'll kind of manage it here. We'll bring this a little closer. I want to get the platform close, or at least in a position where I think I'm going to cut. About there. And I'm just going to now grab a little template. So you get these paper templates, one for the small blade, one for the medium blade, one for the large blade. They're basically going to tell me where these things are going to cut. So I've got the point. This is the pivot point. I got that in the pivot point there. It's kind of hard to do with my hand in the way, but I can't help it otherwise. Right there. And then I swing this over, and it's going to kind of tell me where it's going to cut the bowl. So right now, it's telling me from a top view, and it's telling me from a top view I am going to cut. That's going to be the the bottom, the inside cut, the bottom of the middle bowl, which I think will be fine because we've got another bowl section in there to cut. So that's kind of where I'm kind of planning anyway to core these guys. So I think we'll leave it there. We'll go with that today and set that up. So I'm good with where the banjo is sitting. I'm good where the platform is sitting. So the next thing I want to do is, now that I got my tailstock kind of in the right place, I'll lock that down, and I'm going to wind up this. Make sure I go the right way, Todd. I'm going to lock this handle, which is locking my tailstock in place. So now everything's locked down. This is locked down. This is locked down. This platform is not going anywhere, nowhere. So we've got this thing ready. The only other thing we need to do is to put the handle. We got this big long black handle. You can use this handle. This comes with it. It's got a spigot on the end, so you can add another length to it if you want to. So that's going to go on this metal piece here. And they designed it in such a way that it just clears this knob here. So that's very nice. So if I put it there, it just clears. So cool. I have to lock that down. So I think that's 5/32 in that guy. So the standard hex wrench for your chucks. We'll lock that down. And we are ready to go. Actually, I'll get my, just because we're going to wear a face shield, just because this is, big stuff. I'm perfectly fine with what I did yesterday. It was really easy, but always be safe. So we'll put this on, and we're going to turn this around between 300 and 500 RPM. So I've got power on. Make sure I'm going the right way. I am going to double check the chuck because it has been sitting there for a few hours this morning. This is a one-way stronghold chuck with the profiled 4-inch jaws. So it's not dovetailed, but they're holding quite well. And we're set to go. I should talk about the cutter. So let me mention that. I'll grab the medium-sized blade. I'll show you the other one too, because why not? We're talking about blades. So here's the medium-sized blade, and here's the large blade. So that's kind of the system. This large blade has another section that is concave in shape, so it's going to follow the contour of the bowl core they get with this one. This can core up to 18 inches. So 18-inch bowl with this guy. The blades are stellite, which is a very hard tool steel. Let me tighten this in a little bit. There we go. And if we take a look there, you can see sort of the wedge shape of the cutter. And it's got a slight bevel on it, about a 10-degree bevel or 80-degree, however you want to look at it. But if you look at the cutter and why it's wider than the blades, which makes sense, so you can now get room for the blade. These points are important to keep pointy. So if you did want to sharpen it, you can do it on a CBN wheel. I touched these up on my CBN this morning. You can take a hone and just hone that flat straight across, and do not round over those points. So those points are kind of like the saw curve, a blade saw curve, right? So if you look at a bandsaw blade or a handsaw blade, you've got curves, the points that kind of go off to the side, and those clear chips, and cut the outside of the curve before really cutting the inside. So that's important to have these nice and square and have these wider. This tip will last you quite a long time, 500 bowls, they say, or longer. I'm not sure. I've only cored one set of 3 bowls, so I'm good to go for a while. And so that's the shape and the size of each cutter. They're about 8.7 millimeters wide at the tip, and the bars themselves are made of a high strength steel, some alloy, and zinc plated to resist rust and stuff. So that's the blade and the tip geometry. So touch them up with a hone, touch them very gently on a CBN wheel, and you're good to go. I put my face shield down. All right, here we go. Check on the questions. So clever. Okay, thank you. Excellent. Let's see. Power's on. About 500 RPM. We'll start there. Locked. Tailstock is tight. And that handle's tight. All right, we're good to go. So just gently in. And let me widen this out. Get the whole view again. Let me see what this wide shot looks like now. And maybe this shot now is might show a bit better. Okay, so you can kind of see the green screen behind me, but very little hand pressure needed on the handle here, this hand. Very little. This is nice wet Bradford pear, so it's coming off very nicely. And I'm going to pull my garbage can out so my shavings kind of fall in there naturally. So I'm just clearing shavings as I go. You can feel they're a little wet and damp and stuff. Definitely easier to core wet wood. I can't believe how easy this is. It's just I do recommend you clear shavings quite often. If you get a shaving kind of jammed between the blade and the wood, it will jam on you. Yesterday it stalled my lathe out, just kind of ground it to a stop. Simply turn the lathe off, pull the blade out, and clear the shavings, and away we go. No harm, no foul. That blade there, that chip there is just going to try to get in my way. I don't really need to hold my finger there, but it just kind of stops a bit of the vibration a little bit. And it gives you a kind of a feel with your finger of how this thing's operating. So can't really see in there, so feel is kind of the thing to go. I just, honestly, this is just amazingly how easy this is. Fingertip control. See, I couldn't cut anything there. I could feel not cutting, so there was a shaving in the way. There we go. Now, once you get to this spot in the bowl where you're down at the bottom side, getting into the where you get oops. Let me go over here a little bit more. When you get to sort of the end grain part of the bowl. You do cut inside grain here. When you start turning here, you'll notice the sound changes a little bit differently. So it gets a bit more jumpy and stuff. You'll notice that when you start cutting. So, and Shelly wanted me to zoom in a bit more. So let me zoom that one in. That one's not really showing what I want to show. Let's just show this one for a little while. So kind of go slowly in there until you hit the bottom. Cut a little bit. When I get down to this point, I tend to clear shavings a lot more. On the platform, I look overhead, you can see this line where the shavings are. That tells me how deep I'm going to go. So I'll tend to leave that line in sawdust. If I sweep it away, then I don't really know where my blade's going to start cutting. So I'll sweep some shavings over there. Now I know approximately where I'm going to look to see where I'm going to start to cut. So leave a few shavings on the platform just as an indication of where you're cutting. Yeah, see, there we got jammed up. So that's a shaving caught in between the blade and the tool. Kind of see them clogged in there, right in there. So not a big deal. It just, I kind of manually push this through and clear those shavings a little bit. There we go. And I think, yeah, I thought we knocked the bowl loose a little bit, so let me fix that. That didn't happen last time, but that's better. Take a skimming pass through the whole area. I'm going to take my time because I know I'm going to hit that jam of shavings. Very gently here. I caught some shavings. Where's that? Well, that sucks. Let's see. Let's remount that guy. You can see a little gap here. This wet wood is moving on me as I cut. There we go. There's the culprit probably. There we go. That's still off. Can't be moving that much from moisture. That's better. All right. Back in. Oh. I've got some sort of tear out down in there that's just bugging me up. So we're going to shift the platform just a little bit and recut that path. Loosen the tailstock, loosen the banjo. Actually, leave the tailstock. I'll loosen this Morse taper and just shift it ever so slightly to the outside and tighten that back up. And we'll take another pass. Not getting this thing seated very well. I didn't have this problem yesterday, but you know, everything's new. So we're essentially widening the kerf. Yep. There's something down there we just don't like. And this may be, you know, my one-way profile jaws. Dovetail may have been better, but I can see down in there. I don't see what's causing the problem. All right, let's carry on. So this is what I mean about the whole assembly being tied to the tailstock. I can move everything kind of back and forth pretty easily. Do that for a second. We'll change this trajectory a little bit. What is going on with me? Let's spin this a bit. There we go. All right, we'll cut a wider path. One thing I probably should have done is put my Powermatic in low power mode, lower belt, but I have not done that. This is that end grain area that I mentioned. There we go. We're kind of getting that end grain cutting down at the bottom. And at this bottom part, you'll start to hear the sound change right about there. I could hear the pitch get lower, and this is starting to move now, so we're getting close, very close. Persistence seems to be the the key if you're kind of figuring things out the first, second time. So I'm going very slowly till I hit that bottom. There we go. That one popped out. So undo the banjo, undo the tailstock. The whole thing pulls away. And there's our core. So if I go overhead, we'll see we got some sort of catch down in here that just wouldn't give up on us. So we made a bigger core. So I got room for a 10 in there. So we got a little bowl we can put on that guy. And now we've got this other core. Let's do that one next. I'm going to drop this in the trash just to keep the moisture in it. And let's go ahead and change blades. And we'll get to the medium-sized blade. All right. Take that off. Let me take that off for a second. Let's check questions. Let's see. Oh, okay. Joe's here. Hey, Joe. Thanks for joining in. How does this rig compare to the old woodcut rig? The original Bowlsaver is much smaller and it's 2 blades. The Max4, I don't know. I've never seen a Max4. Michael could probably answer that question. And then this guy is much heavier. The castings on it are much heavier. The blades are much bigger. We can do up to 18-inch, from 3-inch up to 18-inch cores with this guy. How big was this guy we got? This was 4 something inches. Yeah, 4 3/8 diameter off this guy. So there it is. I'm kind of picture in picture there. So let's grab that big 8mm Allen key, loosen off these bolts. And pull out this blade. A little bit more. That's in the way. There we go. There's the little blade. We'll grab that one, medium-sized one. So I'm just blowing out the chips from in these slots, so I get a nice clean mount, I guess. I can get that in there. Should just slide. I may have to loosen these off a bit more. There we go. Okay, we'll get that blade loaded in. You can see it in there. I want it resting on this this spot down here. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, broken tenon. I think, yeah, it's the profile jaw is not holding quite as well as I'd hoped for this amount of torque. And I should have put my lathe in slow speed. Mary Alice, thanks for joining. I had the same problem recently, but it was because the wood started to crack and move and ended up in a campfire. Yeah, excellent. That's a good use for some wood. Yeah, this is very wet, so as I core it, there could be some movement. And as you saw on this piece, it's pretty grabby once it gets down to the end grain here. So for the side grain, it's fine, but once it gets here near the bottom, it starts to grab. So that's when to slow up and clear chips often. I guess can't be stressed enough. Let's see. Good question. Let's see, Philip. If I have a problem with mine, it happens at the same point, just at the bottom corner of the bowl. Yeah, and even with hand turning, with behind like that. Even with chisel gouges, as you cut that bottom, it starts to kind of bounce a little bit. So yeah, absolutely, it's a tough part of the thing. How do you get the rig back to the same spot after you slide the tailstock back? Well, you don't exactly, right? So as you saw on this one, I took a different, a couple swipes, right? Made it a wider, much wider. I'm in the way again. Made it a much wider cut. Yeah, that's all I did is I just moved it out. And I kind of got the same geometry, the same general place. The blades are hemispherical, so they're going to cut close to the same path if you have the platform generally in the same position as before. And that's why I like this tailstock clamp, because that will generally keep it kind of aligned. And all you need to do is swivel your banjo and maybe your platform. It'll swivel in that spot, but it's not going to move along this slot. It'll just swivel on this spot. So that's one way why I like this. It kind of doesn't move as much as needed, or as you might see. Let's see. Joe, I placed some tape on the lathe bed right next to the banjo, so I can. Yeah, okay, that's a good idea. Great tip, Philip. Absolutely, yeah. Let's see. Joe, what's the side profile of the cutting tip? Let's take a look. Okay. I will show that. Joe, let's take a look at that small blade. And we'll zoom in. So here's the tip. It's that stellite tip. That's that piece. And this front profile is about a 10-degree bevel on that. So you could take that to the grinder and just touch it, or use a hone and touch it up. So I've done the same thing on this medium-sized blade. The tips are replaceable. They're replaceable by, I guess, silver solder or brazing. I don't know the term, mechanical welding term, but they're welded on, and so you can get a replacement blade. If you're good at that kind of stuff, do it yourself, or take it to a welding shop, and they'll be able to braze it on. So, but the tips should last you, like I said, a long time is what they tell me. So, so we got this. Let's clamp that up. In the clamp, same sort of scenario. I'm going to kind of bite down on each one a little bit at a time as I have this, and I'm in the way again, and let's widen out again. As I have this medium blade sitting on this wear plate, I want to kind of hold it down at that level as I tighten these bolts. This is something I picked up from yesterday's session. I didn't exactly do that, and it's still showing a little bit of a gap as I tighten it down. So I wonder if I loosen that one off and tighten this one down a little bit more. That's tight. That's tight. And yeah, and this one, there's a little bit of a gap there. I'll talk to Dan about that. There shouldn't be a little bit of a gap. So now we are going to aim for this other line, and we're going to kind of set it up somewhat similar in terms of placement. Maybe back this way a little bit. About there, perhaps. Let's get our medium-sized gauge. We'll gauge and see where we're cutting. That looks a bit deep, so I go overhead and back here. I am almost at the chuck, so I think that's a bit deep for coring. So what I need to do is back this off a little bit. And so I will back the whole plate off and loosen this tailstock guy, because we're going to swivel this plate a little bit and change the trajectory of the blade. So that's better. That now is getting me to about this mark. So we'll try for that. I may bring it just a bit closer to close this gap. The whole assembly, a little bit closer. And just double check this. That might be, we'll try that. I think that's going to work. Hopefully it won't make a funnel. So let's just tighten that up. Check the tailstock is tight. Tool post is tight. Banjo's tight. This guy is. I'm just going to take this out. It is knocking a little bit on this with this blade. So I just took out the tailstock quill lock handle, just so my handle swings clear. And if I can show that. No, I don't have a camera view that's going to show that. So we'll just carry on. All right, so we're set. Bowl clears with the face shield. Blade's locked in. This is going to chatter a bit because I've got a bit of a gap under the blade and the wear plate. So I know it's going to make noise. It did yesterday. Shattering until I get deep enough that I don't have that gap anymore. This is something I know it's just with this unit. This unit was taken to AAW. Something. This little snap ring is jumping loose. It shouldn't be, and it won't be on the production unit. So this something Dan added at the show. So there we go. I fear I might be making a funnel, but we'll find out. That is nasty loud, this one. Sorry about the noise, folks. I'll tighten my handle up here a little bit. my wrench. All right. Just a tailstock drawbar was loosening off a little bit. Oh, sure, yeah. Sorry, thanks. That's a good idea. Sorry, I forgot to change the angle there. My wife came and reminded me. I think we're getting at that area again, bottom of the bowl sort of area. So creep up on that, clear shavings often. I probably made this one a little thinner than I wanted to, but and we're getting close. Probably another 1.5 inches or so. From a wear and tear perspective on me, this is pretty easy. So the sound on this middle blade is the worst, though. It's you can hear the tink, tink, tink in there, and it just means the wood is moving a little bit as we cut it. It's starting to dry out, and I'm right at that bottom of the bowl area where it's a little bit bothersome. Come up to it gently. Clear those chips. Oops, went in a little too quick there. I think I bumped this off a little bit again. I'm cutting a little bit of sidewall, so I'm taking my time going down there. And this is getting close, probably another inch. One more cut, I think. There it is. And there's our second core. We snapped off about the last 3/4 of an inch, maybe 5/8. So we've got a pretty consistent wall thickness through there, so not bad. But yeah, pretty rough cut through some of that end grain and stuff, especially on the bottom. Really got to take your time doing that. So that's that. And then we've got this guy where I have a pretty bad profile on. So it takes a little bit of practice to kind of get your aim right with those things. There is a laser guide system that mounts in this hole that will kind of do a laser assist version of this thing. So I don't have one of those out here in the shop. So, but that is the Bowlsaver Max4. So that worked out, I think, rather well. It was actually much better the first time than this time, which is always the case. Let me just pull this back a little bit. And we'll do that. Yeah, there's a cracked tenon, so that's a problem. But that is a lot better than a pile of shavings on the floor. So there's that set, and then I dig down here deep enough. That one and that one. So this one I finished off yesterday, just not quite finished off, but sort of turned. And so that is a lot better than wasting all these shavings and getting that. So like I said, these are like 9 inch and 8.5 inch sort of cord set using the small and medium blade. And obviously you can do much bigger with the large blade. Let me just check the chat here. Bear with me as a second as I let's see. Let's see. So Phillips used the smaller version for years. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, not sure I'll ever do an 18-inch bowl. I'm not sure either, to be honest, but it's nice to know you can. Let's see. Joel, the old Max 3 will cut 3 to 8 inches, but Todd says the casting is lighter and the larger blade is not beefed up like the one on the Max 4. Oh, good. Yeah, I thought the Max 3 was 16 inches or 17 inches, but if it's 18, great. And this is something that you need to know. If you have like a capacity on your lathe of 18 inches or even 16 inches, you can still use the large blade. As you saw, we can shift the position of the pivot point so that we cut shallower bowls. So we don't necessarily always have to have the pivot point right at spindle center. We can shift it off, and so we're cutting shallower bowls. So that's something to know. Something I learned over the weekend at SWAT. So excellent. Let's see, Joe. I gotta mouse over a little bit. Sorry, checking out. I like the gauge idea. Way less chance to blow through the bottom of a bigger bowl, make a lampshade or smaller bowls. Yeah, yeah. I was a little concerned with this one, but we actually have pretty consistent wall thickness all the way down. So that was nice. I was kind of thought we might be blowing through that one, but I will say that I could do a bit better targeting at the bottom of this bowl. What I've got is, well, I don't know. Actually, maybe not. The bottom may not be that bad. It's the thicker walls. That's probably my outside shape is not really conforming. But if I do that, yeah, I mean, I could have gone another half inch or an inch down in the bottom. So that's something I'm not. I have to get used to and understand a bit better how those gauges work, and that may be where I might get the laser light or make a laser light myself to track these blades. So we'll see how that works out. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so here's a good thing. I start with the largest core first, then medium and small last. I find this the best for myself. Yeah, it's a good question. Good comment, Philip. Like I said, this is now the second bowl I've cored. So for at least on the lathe demo purposes, it's nice and easy to core the middle one, and then you still got the outer one to core to show those blades. But yeah, so if you cored the largest one first, then you have to take the core and remount it. So that's probably what I would do here. So this would be the whole middle core, remount it, put a tenon on it, and remount it again, and then core the middle one. I think that's the only way to go, right? So, and that made me make sense, because if you core the big one first, then you're left with this. You can finish this big bowl while it's still on the lathe. You can finish it either way, I suppose, but yeah, anyway, so good thoughts. Cindy's coming back. Phil, do core the largest one, then make the tenon on the core, and then okay, it's just exactly what I kind of said. So hopefully Philip's filling us in. Joe's got some Mahoney wisdom. Take the money bowl first. If you have to waste wood, waste the smaller bowls. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Todd, people may wonder who Dan is. You mentioned he's something. You mentioned he added something at the show. Oh yeah, Dan Hewitt is the woodcut owner of Woodcut Tools out of New Zealand. He was at AAW and spent some time in our booth. Yeah, what was the question again? You mentioned he added something at the show. I'm not sure. I'll have to come back to that. It'll probably come to me. Philip, yes, Cindy, I still have the tenon on the inside of the middle to turn a tenon on the outside for the next core. Yeah, it's kind of what I said. That's what I thought. So that's good to know and get validation on. So it's not that loud for me. Well, it was pretty loud in here. It was not pleasant. So Philip, that sounds a good way to do it. Yep, absolutely. So after coring hundreds, you find the best way. Excellent. Oh, I know who to talk to now. coring expert. So I like this tool. I have a whole suite of McNaughton, however, so I have to think about switching. Yeah, definitely. It's you know, the McNaughton system, the one-way system, this Bowlsaver, and then there's the Kelton hollowers or whatever. But so yeah, it's your choice. There's lots of choices. Philip, I would recommend this system to anyone over the McNaughton. This is so easy. It is easy. I got to tell you, you know, like I said, it's two bowls for me now. It's easy to set up. It's easy to operate. Very easy to operate. And the only guesswork I have is where to place the blade to get the travel that I want in the path that I want. So I don't have such a thick bottom bowl. But that comes with experience and practice. So I've got 5 or 6 more of these bowl blanks over there, smaller ones, but still over there to practice with. Yeah. Yay, no funnel. I know. Yeah. Even though these two middle ones kind of came out about the same. It's almost kind of eerie how similar they look to each other. So let's see, this one goes in there. I think this one over here. This one, the first one, cut really quite smoothly. So I may have botched the sharpening job on this when I touched it up on the CBN. So I'll take a look at that again. Maybe it's not quite as sharp, or maybe this is just a different, uglier part of the tree that just wasn't happy being cut. No, in there, in there, in there, in there, in there. All right. It sure looks easy and foolproof. Yeah, it pretty much is, except like I said, you know, setting up the cut. So beginner's luck on the first one. I don't know about that. Besides, this is my second one. So curse the demo. Yeah, absolutely, it is curse the demo. Impressive that it did that with that bad crack down the tenon. Yeah, it was. It's a pretty stout tenon. So is that this one? Yeah, that was this one. Yeah, the crack is massive, and but that's why I twisted it in the tenon just to kind of get that clamped elsewhere. But yeah, you know, I did that little trick about chamfering the corner of the tenon too, but it's not a dovetail. So that, I think, was one of the thoughts. But this is the 4-inch jaws that I had. I wanted a 4-inch tenon on this heavy wet wood. So I will maybe get out my other larger dovetail jaws for the next ones. Let's see. Yeah, nice. I always have to tell him to quit digging in the garbage can. Yeah, I know. But that's a good place to store these until they dry. I finally got to meet you and Todd. Yeah, it was really good to meet you too, Mary Alice. It was so nice to see you again. Let's see. Cindy is saying Dale says those tiny center cores are not saleable. Leave it solid and use it for boxes or other stuff. Okay. Well, maybe. Yeah, I mean, certainly this size of bowl, maybe not sellable. But this is about, I think the limit on empty bowls is 5 inches. So these would be great donations to empty bowls because this one's just over 5. So that would be fine. This, yeah, probably just a change dish in my own house. Oh, Dan's in the house. Dan, good to have you here on your Saturday morning. So very early. Good to have you here. Yeah. So just Dan, if you're listening, I still have that gap underneath the medium blade and the wear platform on this unit. So I did clamp it down while I was resting on the wear pad, but I think that's the reason for how loud the medium was so chattery, because it wasn't really getting that support on the wear pad. So I will talk with you offline. I think from a pre-production unit, we'll do a little bit of finagling here to figure that out. Yep, and Todd, I have an easy way for depth. I can send you a video if you like. Yeah, please do. Absolutely. If there's a video you have on checking that depth, send it to me. I can link it in the my product page, my Facebook page, or something like that. And yeah, any kind of assistance there, I'd be grateful. So, yeah, excellent. Oh, Ron stopped in. Thank you, Ron. Good to see you, or at least have you on here. Joe, small bowls are good for having a set of bowls. More impressive individual small bowls are giveaways. Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, empty bowls or something like that. So, that is sort of probably my plan for these small ones. Really, I don't really turn a lot of bowls, but now that I have this thing, I think I will be turning more. So, I'm going to bury these back in the shavings for a day or two. I probably should anchor seal these, but I'll maybe get to that tomorrow. So one inside the other, shavings, and then the other one, and then bury that a whole lot, a little bit. Do the other one. Come on, get out of there. Bury that in shavings. Put the medium bowl in there. Shavings, small bowl, shavings on top. All right. That'll sit there for a couple days, and maybe tomorrow I'll get Sunday, anchor seal it, because tomorrow, my friends, let us remind ourselves what is happening tomorrow. Cindy Drozda's IRD, so check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Waterfall, natural edge, lidded bowl and pedestal, 2 classes. So tomorrow, the 9th, at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure what that translates to wherever you are, but figure that out. And sign up at cindydrozda.com. That should be a lot of fun. If I have this up here. There it is. Yep. Check it out. That should be fun. Come join us at SWAT next next month, end of August. We'll be there, so we'll have a lot of fun. And get a hold of me. You can find me there. So SWAT is fun. And then if you need anything, more information about the Bowlsaver or what it can do, reach out to me. Let me know, and we'll answer any questions you have. We'll get some of these hopefully to take down to SWAT, and we'll have at least this one to show display. At least I don't know if I'll have a lathe there to show this working. That hasn't been worked out yet. I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll have this on the table in a display setting. You can take a closer look at it for sure. So this resource is always here. And like I said, I'm going to make so this video will stay up on Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to make a post-production YouTube, sort of an edited version of a video of how this works from what I did yesterday. So look for that hopefully in the next coming few days. And we can certainly answer any of those kind of questions. And let's see. Ron says, let's see. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm losing my. Yes, let's see. Sorry. James says you should bring this to SWAT to demo in the booth, sell the nested bowls. Yeah, it's getting a lathe, James, at SWAT. That's a big problem. So if you have a cat, don't bury your bowls in a pile of shavings on the floor. Okay, got it. And Ron asks, are you selling this item? Yes. Yes, we are, Ron. Absolutely. So check out the website. I'll maybe bring that up again. And we can show that here. So go to the website, woodturningtoolstore.com, click on the big blue button, and you can see the Max4. Oops, wrong. I can't click there. I have to click over here, Todd. There you go. I take it to the system. $8.99 retail. shipping in the U.S. Probably end of August. So we'll see. But good question, Ron. Thank you. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, Michael, at Cindy's thing for sure. I am demoing, so I have to. Yes, I'll be demonstrating at SWAT as well. I'm a regional demonstrator, but I'm not bringing a big lathe to use this thing, so that's a problem. I suppose I could demo this thing. I don't know if I can though. I've already set my demo. Yeah, thanks everyone. Cindy, James, Ron, Philip, Michael. Scott's here. Thanks for joining in, Scott. Appreciate it. And yeah, Larry, all that. Thanks everybody for joining me on this little adventure today. And boy, we're way over time, aren't we? And hope you all have a good weekend. And I should be back hopefully in a couple of weeks. But yeah, stay in touch. Until then, everybody take care. Have a great weekend. 2:30 Todd saying goodbye, good night, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.